Hello, celebrity gossip enthusiasts. I'm Us Weekly's entertainment director, Travis Cronin, and you're listening to Us Weekly's Hot Hollywood podcast. Today, as always, I am so lucky to be joined by my two co-hosts, the diamond of this fashion season, Gwen Flamberg.
Oh, I shine bright, don't I, Trav? Thank you. Hi, guys.
Hello, and the woman who says life can't always be boats and rosé, but it should be, Sarah Huron.
Hi, Travis. You write a new tagline for me every week. It's such an honor.
I do. You should be. And, call me Dr. Wendy because I am filled with both happy and ness because we have Danny Pellegrino on the show, host of Everything Iconic and the new book, How Do I Unremember This? Unfortunate True Stories. Thanks for joining us today, Danny.
Thank you, Travis. And one thing I will never unremember is Dr. Wendy on The Real Housewives of Potomac calling her breasts happy and nest. So thank you for that lovely introduction.
You're welcome. I hope a visual of her pole dancing with her braids and her exposed thong also comes to memory, because don't forget the back. She had that done too. It's rude not to mention it. Well, today we have Royal Babies, a royal memorial, A-list beef that will never die, and the most controversial boob job of 2022, says the courts of New York. But first, let's start with our woes of the week. These are the stories that made our hosts grab their proverbial pearls and just pull back aghast. Gwen Flamberg, what made you go woe this week?
Well, guys, I'm not sure if anybody else is following International Fashion Month as I have, but one Julia Fox, you may remember her from dating Kanye West just about a week or so ago.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
She hit the Diesel show in Milan, and lo and behold, her makeup was wild and crazy, just as it had been when she was in Paris for Couture Week with Kanye. But instead of her very heavy, crazy eyes being black, which Kanye did for her at the Schiaparelli show,
Chateau Crayola,
are white. They are white, angelic. Is this an Easter egg? Is she trying to say that she's all lightness and angel wings since the split? I don't know, but it made me go, whoa. And guys, if you haven't seen the pictures, you know what to do. Go to usmagazine.com/stylish to see every celebrity street style pic from Milan and all through Fashion Month.
I love a hidden message.
Yeah. Even if we're making it up.
Right. Doesn't matter. Da Vinci Code or Julia Fox, equal in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't see any difference. Sarah Huron, what made you go well this week?
Well, I don't know if you guys have been watching Celebrity Big Brother, but I was very obsessed. Even though everyone's calling it like the worst season ever, I thought that made it even more fun to watch because not one celebrity in this house besides Todrick Hall even knew what Celebrity Big Brother was. Also, Shanna Moakler. And the finale was last night and it was great. They were all super shady. Todrick's been getting all this crap because he was talking about Shayna's appearance on the live feeds. He was talking about Chris Kirkpatrick's son. Like he was just being the worst. And the jury got their justice when they voted for Misha, and Todrick only got one vote. But now, poor Shayna, we need more justice for Shayna because her crazy, my words, boyfriend, Matthew, took over her Instagram at like 7:30 LA time, posted on her feed this crazy 4-minute video in which he uses not very nice language to describe her, accuses her of sleeping with the neighbor, says she's not over Travis Barker. We have heard that Us Weekly has confirmed with the Los Angeles Police Department that the police are at their house. I believe Matthew may have even been arrested by now in custody after this recording. And I feel really bad because a couple months ago, when all this Kravis stuff was playing out, we were all like, Shanna Moakler, she's jealous. This is like not great. And now it's like, wow, justice for Shayna. She needs a real man and she should have won America's Favorite Player on Big Brother.
She was so great on Big Brother too. I fell in love with her for the first time on that show. I didn't know much about her before that.
Yeah. And on I've gone back and watched some episodes of Meet the Barkers on YouTube as a journalist does. And she definitely seems really sweet. And I feel like she's got the short end of the stick with this whole Kravis takeover thing. And now this like 29-year-old guy being emotionally abusive on Instagram stories, let alone who knows what happens in private. Like I'm hoping good things for Shayna.
Me too. It sort of sounds like you're in the FBI chair and you're like, police are outside up. They're going in. So please provide us with live updates of the police cop situation.
I will.
Whatever you call them. Well, Danny Pellegrino, author of How Do I Unremember This? Unfortunate True Stories. What made you go whoa this week?
Okay, mine's not as scandalous, but I needed an outlet to get this out. So I feel like this is the right place. I saw the movie Dog with Channing Tatum, which I went into it. My friend and I were like, we're going to have a glass of wine, go see a matinee and have a good time. And I ended up like, I was sobbing. I was emotional. I was happy. I was sad. I was all of the things. Channing Tatum, there's this one scene, which this is not really a spoiler light, but there's one scene where he's just in a white top, a white blouse, as I like to say, completely wet from the rain, watching Grey's Anatomy with a dog. And I thought, is there anything more that we need from a movie? No. So I loved it. And I hope people see it. I had totally like no to low expectations. And it blew me away. I just thought it was fantastic. And so I hope that people give it a shot.
Well,
I know you
actually sent my dog this dog pillow with Channing Tatum holding this that says, I woof you.
I mean, come on, Travis.
I know. I'll send it over to you. You need this. You loved it.
I need it.
Oh my God.
So thank you, Channing. They came addressed to my dog from Channing Tatum's dog. So thank you to Channing Tatum's dog.
I do have a question about this movie, though. I've seen the promos and the promo just states like Channing Tatum has a dog. Like, is there plot in this film?
I mean, I think that's enough if you ask me, Sarah, but there is plot.
Okay.
And on the poster, because every time I've mentioned this movie to friends, they're like, I can't see it because the dog dies. But I have to say on the poster, it says the dog doesn't die. So that's that's something to go into the movie knowing. I hope that's not a spoiler because they put it on the freaking poster. But I feel like people don't know that. I feel like a lot of people, you think, oh, I don't want a really sad movie in that way. So, yeah.
Wow. 10 out of 10 recommends Dog just for the scene with Grey's Anatomy and Channing Tatum.
And by the way, Travis, I don't have a dog right now, but I will put my head on that pillow if you send it.
There you go. You can rub against Channing Tatum's chest in his black blouse.
Wouldn't be the first time I did that on a printed object of Channing Tatum, but that's neither here nor there.
We were all teenagers once. I get it. Well, the story that made me go whoa this week is about The Crown. We haven't heard a lot about The Crown, except they've been having troubles filming. But yesterday, about $200,000 worth of gemstones, silverware, and antiques were stolen from the set. One stolen item was a replica of a rare Fabergé egg that belonged to Queen Elizabeth II's grandfather, George V, in 1933, a way throwback. A candelabra, jewelry, a grandfather clock, and a birdcage were among the goods. Police were called to scenes and have been hunting for the robbers. But like, what a strange flex to steal crown jewels that are props from a set. Like, are these just, women of varying ages who want to get their hands on these props? Because I can't imagine these fake gemstones and uncut gems are worth a lot of money. It's
a no for me.
It's a no for me. Well,
I think we need an Ocean's 9 about this. We got Ocean's 8, which that's all I'm thinking about is Ocean's 8 as you're telling that story. And I feel like we never got the sequel to that. And this sounds, I don't know how they work it. Someone else above my pay grade can figure that out. But I'd like to see Sandra Bullock do something with this.
I'm back in. I'm back in after that idea.
They're all like
a Fabergé egg is good.
Middle management, like Crown fans who just want tchotchkes for their apartment. And that is the motivation for everything. We need sconces, ladies. Grab them. All right. Well, let us bust into some of the news.
Right now, this morning, in addition to, trying to be a cop with Shanna Mokler, I also had to pretend to be a lawyer reading Kim Ye's new divorce documents that were 155 pages long. And oh my God, Kim really, really wants to be divorced, and I get it. And she's basically begging the court, like, if you declare us legally single, maybe my estranged husband will understand that means we are never, ever, ever getting back together. And she's accusing him of like emotional distress with these Instagram posts. She's like, I've done everything I can to try to keep this private, and Kanye West will not let me. His team filed these documents that are trying to make it difficult for Kim to get remarried if that happens down the line. There's so much mess there. And I've been Team Kim forever, and I'm more Team Kim than ever. And I need Kanye to just like back off.
It was the Taylor reference for me in that Sarah. I really appreciated that one. I just feel bad for everybody involved in this story. I mean, Kim, obviously, from what I read, and I did not read all 150 pages of that decree, but she just seems really at wit's end to make this happen and to move on. I feel bad for Kanye because he is mentally ill and he's not handling this in a rational way. And I wish that his handlers would try to do something. I've known some of them through the years, and I know that it's very, very difficult to intervene in any way with his desires, but none of this looks good on his end. And there are 4 children involved here. And I feel most bad for Pete Davidson, who, should be just living his best life with that body, and it's not, none of it is good. None of it is good for any of these people.
I don't imagine that when Pete started dating Kim, and obviously you can't control the ones that you love, but it's like, I can't imagine the stress and everything that he's experienced going into this whole ordeal, because he just started dating someone. And then not only is it on such a public platform, but then all these other layers to it, with Kanye, it's tough to watch.
It is very tough to watch. And a source told us, close to Kim Kardashian early this week, that the two of them do have a prenup. They have all of their assets divided already. That is not going to be a contentious part of it. They have agreed to custody. But the only thing that Kanye is dragging his heels about is her getting remarried, which is, I don't know if you've seen Fear with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon, but
the roller coaster scene.
The roller coasters, absolutely. It's very that a story as old as time, an ex semi-abusive, mentally incapacitated boyfriend not letting up on his wife.
Can I ask a question? How is he saying you can't get remarried, or what is the block there? What is he trying to block exactly? I'm confused.
Legal expert Sarah Huron, please. Subsection 2.
Yes, let me pull up the quote. My favorite part of the documents are the part where they said, quote, they are both independently wealthy. So like you said, Travis, they have all of their prenup stuff from 2014 in stone, but Kanye's team is doing whatever they can, pretty much from my understanding, to make it difficult for this divorce to go through. So while Kim, quote, seeks relief from West's bitterness and unhappiness, they think that his opposition to Ms. Kardashian's request to be restored to the status of a single person has little, if anything, to do with the property or sufficiency of approved conditions, and everything to do with the fact that he does not want their marriage to end. Her team also suggests that his goal is to prevent or make it difficult for Kardashian to remarry in the future, calling his request to waive all marital privileges should she remarry unprecedented. Now, I'm Noelle Woods, but I would say that they are just going out of their way to make this divorce difficult so Kanye can hang on to this marriage, and which is Kim's team is doing everything they can to stop that and have the court.
I am Elle Woods, and I object, because that is just, it's so uncute and so bitter to stop the person that you used to love from declaring themselves single, from getting married. Like, that's the hill you're dying on, to stop them from moving on. Bitter Betty.
And there's 4 kids. Yeah. It's just icky.
A lot of the stuff is icky. I mean, the Valentine's Day stuff with the public post that Kanye did of delivering the flowers and stuff like that. I think, I don't know if in his mind he's thinking that's like a great way to win him back, but I think most of the public is just looking at that as very icky.
Yeah.
Desperate.
Yeah.
And it said crystal clear with 2 Ks on the side of that pickup truck. That is what I remember. The decals, crystal clear with Ks. I mean, I actually have no words for that. Well, Sarah Huron, can you tell us why Corey Gamble, former bodyguard to Justin Bieber and friend of P. Diddy, also got involved in this?
Yeah, I can. I mean, speaking of the alliteration, though, I just want to point out real quick that Tristan's baby mama, Marley, announced her baby's name, and it's Theo. And I was like, Theo, 4-letter word starts with T. True 4-letter word starts with T. Throwing that out there. Anyway, yeah, Corey Gamble. There was a report over the weekend that Corey Gamble was an alleged video of him cheating on Kris Jenner. From everything I understand, it was not Corey Gamble in the video, but that did not stop Kanye West from sharing the report on his Instagram and calling out Corey. And now he's threatening him. And I don't know why he has such beef with Corey Gamble, but he seems to really be angry with him.
Well, in more royal news, Kate Middleton wants another kid? ? Well, Kate Middleton joked about Prince William's worries about her spending time with babies because it makes her want more of their own. She met with parents and their young children on Tuesday with her first solo royal tour in Denmark since COVID, and she revealed that she sometimes considers having a fourth child. It makes me very broody, Kate Middleton admitted to researchers from Copenhagen Infant Mental Health Project during a visit to the University of Copenhagen. She says, William always worries about me meeting under 1-year-olds. I come home saying, let's have another one. And then Williams said earlier, don't give my wife any ideas in January when she was holding a cute little baby. And while she was holding, says, don't take her with you. Tuesday was not the first time that Kate Middleton described herself as quote unquote broody. During a 2019 visit to Northern Ireland, she used the term while meeting a 5-month-old boy, baby number 4, the tot's father asked at the time. And she replied, I think William would be a little worried. Now, this is like such a stereotypical, like heteronormative back and forth about like, oh, she wants another baby, but William's not going to allow it. That's what I feel. So I can't really tell if there's any truth to this, or it's just very 50s Tim keeping his wife in check from wanting all the babies.
It definitely feels like an episode of King of Queens to me.
Totally.
For sure.
It's a good name for it, honestly, too.
Wait, I just have to say, I mean, like Kate Middleton, do whatever you want. I love royal babies. Just like announce it at a convenient time for me personally. That's all I ask of the royal family at all times. But it just to segue a little bit into Danny's book, I know we're going to talk about it, but the way you just like pull out your pop culture references, which anyone who listens to your podcast knows that in this book, the way you go from like describing something that happened in your childhood that was like a really defining moment or like your coming out story, and then all of a sudden we're quoting Coyote Ugly, like it's just perfectly balanced. Can you tell me a little bit about like how you decided how like when you put those in and when like to keep it serious? Because I thought it was perfectly executed, but is that like a thing you were constantly thinking about?
Gosh, Sarah, you are such a pro the way you just pivoted from that story. I am just so incredibly impressed, and I thank you for it because we want people to buy the book.
Yes.
But yes, no, thank you so much for saying that. I've always been a pop culture junkie. And so one of the interesting things was when I was writing this book, I would send my editor a chapter. And there was one point where I was like, are there too many pop culture references? Because you're right. There would be, a Coyote Ugly reference, my best friend's wedding, and then, I don't know, Garfield or something. It was just jam packed. And I was like, is this too much? And my editor's like, no, that's you. Just lean into it. And other people who love the same things as you will like it too. And so one of the things we had talked about was like, if you don't get the reference on page 7, maybe you'll get the one on page 8. And for pop culture junkies like ourselves, I think part of the fun, hopefully, is remembering some of those moments or movies, TV shows, toys, books, all that kind of stuff that's referenced in the book. So I had fun sort of jam packing it with those references. And I think there are a lot of them are mostly nostalgic too.
Totally. Sorry, it's also just no worries. It's so much fun because it makes everybody realize that like something didn't happen for them. And like, a lot of, I think the younger generation are criticized a lot for thinking that they created these trends, but it's just so great to tie it back to something. And it just shows that like, we're all the same. We can all love the same things. And I think it actually like really ties a lot of what's happening now to what happened then, and like just bringing the generations together. You're doing God's work, Danny.
Thank you. I really do believe like pop culture is the great unifier. So especially during these times where we're all sort of disconnected, I think it's always easy enough to connect with someone on their favorite movie or TV show or something. Most of my family lives in Ohio, and some of them, we might have different political views or whatever, but oftentimes you still want to be able to have a relationship with them. And I think something that's easy enough to spark a conversation is movies or TV. And just recently I was talking to my mom and I was like, what are your favorite movies? Like, I want to sit and watch your favorite ones, because when I was growing up, we watched my dad's favorite movies, but never really my mom's. I had 2 older brothers, so we would watch the Caddyshacks and Vacation, Animal House. So I talked to my mom and she gave me like The Way We Were and Love Story and some of her favorite things. So I watched them, and then we had such like a wonderful conversation about them afterwards. And I think it was just, she felt so excited that I liked some of the things, and it just made me remember like how important that is to connect with each other on that stuff, especially when we so often just want to fight with each other about, this is my opinion on that and this.
Well, Wendy Williams was my radio DJ growing up that I would listen to all the time after high school. So I feel such like sense of protection about her. She sort of made it really hard in the last coming years. But yesterday, it was announced that after 14 seasons on the air, the Wendy Williams show is coming to an end as the host continues to very, very much struggle with her health. However, Wendy Williams has since responded to her representative statement online in a move that seemingly calls into question the fate of her daytime show. Now, there was an official announcement yesterday. Howard Bragman sent a message on behalf of Wendy, said it's been a challenging time for Wendy as she deals with health issues. She is incredibly grateful to Debmar Mercury and Sherry and everyone else who has supported the show through the time. She, more than anyone, understands the reality of syndicated television. La, 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 please giving us our money. She's not going to be here anymore. However, Wendy Williams took to Instagram to write, Mr. Bragman, although I appreciate your concerns and respect you immensely, I have not authorized you to make statements upon my behalf regarding my current status with Debmar Mercury. Again, thank you for your continuing concern and support. Okay. Bragman has since released another public statement in regards to the post on the newly created Instagram account saying that Sherry Shepherd will be taking over. Now, this wouldn't be a Wendy Williams show without shady back and forth. And how is that for Wendy Iconic Shade? Even on the way out, she is tearing the walls down, letting them have it. Good luck to Sherry Shepherd.
You got to stay on brand. And Wendy did with that exchange. It's been a really very, very tough couple of years for Wendy. But I do have to say, as happens often in pop culture history, as she became more unhinged, so did her wigs.
I didn't think we were going there right now. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, me either.
But I have in my head, of course, I have to do my shameless plugs. But on the current episode of our beauty podcast, Glam Squad Confidential, we do talk about the best and worst moments in beauty and fashion and TV right now. And so I have been thinking about this. As characters become more unhinged, it really shows in their beauty.
Huh. There's still so many questions with the Wendy situation too, that I think I'm so excited to hear, hopefully at some point, like what was going on behind the scenes, whether that be from Wendy or some of the producers, because even the public statements that the show and that Howard and Wendy and people have been making, I don't think they add up. And I don't know that we're getting I know we're not getting a full story of what was going on there behind the scenes. And so I hope one day we learn, because I think there's much more to it than what they're telling us.
Absolutely.
I'm worried we're never going to know, because she did that Lifetime movie about her life. Her and Kevin Hunter had such a contentious relationship. I've had many sources on the show tell me stories that I cannot repeat on here that were horrible. And the Lifetime movie didn't show even a snippet of that. So I'm a little, unlike Britney Spears, I'm a little unsure of her telling her own story truthfully in the way that we want it to.
But Danny, you always talk about The View. And Sherry Shepherd was on The View, right?
Yes, she was on The View for years. Yeah. And
so how do you feel about her taking over?
I'm excited for Sherry to take over. I don't think anyone can necessarily fill Wendy's shoes. I think it'll be a different show. And I think the challenge going forward for Sherry is going to be to do her own show while also somehow filling the expectation of her filling the Wendy Williams seat, because Wendy's sitting on that purple chair for 20 some minutes at the top of each show and giving her opinion. That is so much harder than I think people realize. And Sherry's fantastic, but I think viewers are going to go in both expecting Sherry to do the shoe cam and to do that 20 minutes of Hot Topics and to do almost the same show Wendy did. And she's either not going to live up to it or she's going to pivot and try to take away a lot of those things. And then the viewers of Wendy are going to be pissed about that. So I almost feel like with the Sherry going forward, I don't know that there's a win-win for her. I think she's always going to be compared to that show. And if she does a hard pivot, people are going to be mad that she's changing the Wendy show. And so I think it's going to be impossible for her. But if there's anyone that could do it, maybe it's Sherry Shepherd, because I love her.
Don't lose the shoe cam, first and foremost, and maybe bring back season 1 Wendy Williams when she would take the notes from under her wig and she would take a Slim Jim and light it with a lighter for her little pre-show snack. That was my favorite. She did that the entire first season. The opening, she would take her notes out of her wig, take a Slim Jim, hit it with a lighter, and have herself a little barbecue snack.
Wow.
Well, I want to
Not
know
a
the
bad
status.
snack. I might have that today.
Yeah. I need to know about Norman. Is Norman going to be there? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I love Norman. I think they should keep Norman. Well, how you doing? Good luck to Sherry Shepherd. Danny, if you love Sherry and believe in her, then I will take a chance on little Sherry Shepherd, the girl who can.
I did. When I was in college, I wrote Sherry Shepherd an email and she wrote me back because I loved her on Less Than Perfect. This was pre The View.
Oh yeah.
So
He wrote you back?
She wrote me back. So I always have love in my heart for Sherry. She wrote me back in a fan letter in college. So
Oh my
there you go.
God.
That's really
nice.
sweet.
It is.
I do kind of want to talk about Julia Hart's boob job because I don't know if I know Gwen, you watched. Did everyone watch My Unorthodox Life? Because that show, season 1 was interesting, but season 2 is going to be so much better because this divorce is getting so messy. And in more court documents that I read, he is accusing her of using company funds to pay for her boob job and other cosmetic procedures.
Yeah, they're
Season
expensive.
Season 2.
Season 2, like, let's go. I'm so excited.
I mean,
I
when
don't think
someone,
yeah.
oh, go ahead, Danny.
Oh, sorry. I don't think season 1 got quite enough buzz, but they got just enough to come back for season 2. And so now we're just really like leaning into the mess, I think, over there.
Well, I think that, the thirst to be a reality star and have a reality show, I think she floated the idea that she was willing to divorce her husband on camera, and have her whole career blow up if the cameras could be there.
Yeah.
Yes, they could. She really has come out as a great reality star. She's got all the right makings of it. So thank you for Julia Hart for holding that torch of the messy reality show that we so desperately needed in our lives.
It's so hard to stand out now with the reality show. I mean, we've been doing this for so many years and it's almost impossible to have a moment somebody hasn't seen before or have a storyline that people are talking about. And obviously we want everything to be okay with her, but it is interesting to me just taking her specific story out of the equation and just seeing how these shows, in order to survive, they need a messy moment because we've seen so many come and go so quickly. And it's fascinating to watch certain people step up to that occasion. And you wonder how much of it is what real, what's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Well said.
Well, Danny, we're going to ask you about some Housewives things because I hear you're a little bit of an expert and you may watch a couple seasons.
I watch way too much of it, Travis. Way too much. Somebody needs to stop me at some point, but
Never.
Not on this podcast, Danny. We support it. We say quit your job and watch more Housewives here. That is our tagline.
That's what I did.
That's literally what he did.
That's literally what I did.
Literally what you did. Well, we are going to do some rapid fire of some superlatives for the Housewives from an expert who quit his job to focus on the Housewives, and it worked out. So, follow his lead.
Chase your dreams.
Chase your dreams.
Shoot for the stars.
Shoot for the stars, and these stars are on Bravo. Now, for the Housewives, I want you to give superlatives to the ultimate. This is all
Wait,
time.
Travis, I don't know why I'm like so nervous. I want to give like the best answer.
They're easy.
Okay, I'm like
easy.
notice I'm
They're
like
easy.
shaking. I'm like, wait a minute, I am nervous about this.
Yes, so these are for all Housewives, all time, and there are no wrong answers because there's a lot of
There might
ladies that
be.
can fit in all these spots.
Just kidding.
Well, and if there is, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
So Housewives, who do we think is the ultimate shadiest number one housewife of all?
I probably Kenya Moore. I think her and Phaedra are both expert level shade people. Fantastic. A+.
Fantastic.
Okay, great. The most two-faced.
Oh, the most two-faced. Oh my gosh. I love Lisa Barlow, but I would say Lisa Barlow, I think she kind of just lives for the housewifery. And so I think she kind of will follow whatever she thinks is best for the show. And the way we saw her hot mic moment this past season with Meredith, I mean, was one of the most two-faced things I've ever seen on any of these shows.
And now
I
she's
love her.
twisting it and she's blaming the network for airing it, like based on the reunion promo, at least, which I can't wait for.
Isn't it delicious, Sarah? I love it. I mean, that moment where she's just railing on her friend of a decade plus And it's like, whoa, you really thought this. I couldn't imagine Meredith watching it at home.
No.
Also, your mics are on. They're always on.
And now you never know when Bravo's going to use the hot mic or when they're not going to use it, or if they're going to show you talking to the producer, which they just did on Jersey. You never know what's going to come out now.
You do not. Which housewife drinks the most?
Oh my gosh. I think Sonia at this past season, she reels it in, but I think when Sonia drinks, so
right.
she does a roller coaster, so she'll stop and then she'll start again. She'll start again. But so I think
it's like
when
New York is a collective, I think.
New York. I used to call it New York Alcohol, the TV show, because it's really,
you did say that.
There have been a few seasons where it's just like every single episode, the entire cast is hammered.
So hammered. Like when they were in the Hamptons and all those ridiculous outfits, they're like, what are we wearing? Just tanked, all of them. Thank you for being so drunk. Who has the best clothes?
I used to love Carol's style on New York. I thought it was interesting and fun to watch, I think. Or in terms of Beverly Hills, I don't love Dorit's style, but I love seeing what labels she's wearing because she's so into her labels that I find it fascinating sociologically or something. So I think Dorit's what I'm looking at most of, like, what is that label she's wearing?
Well, yeah, she'll let you know. It's usually all over it. She's not going to hide it.
Yeah.
She makes it nice, guys. She makes it nice.
Dorit's finances also are one of the ones that are confusing. So the ones when they like really go with the fashion and the brands, and then we're just waiting for like, okay, when are we going to find out what's really going on here? It always makes me excited.
And I don't know about you all, but I love watching to see some of the designers and see if they're fake. And there have been Instagram accounts that literally like point out, because a lot of times the housewives will wear the label, but it's a fake, it's a whatever. And they'll point out like a misprint or something on the label.
The
and I love
Fendi
that.
on Karen Huger's dress.
Live for that.
So
it was a lot of dress to be fake. Who do you think has the most unique sense of style? Who sort of dresses the most different of all of them?
Oh, good question. Oh my gosh. The most different. Mary Cosby from Salt Lake City. She's also very into labels and she's very wealthy and has some great labels, but I feel like sometimes I'm like, what is that?
Well, I also called the show Hoarders to go do a checkup on her, and social services from Prada is also going to check her hoarder's closet because I had never seen anything like that.
I would live for her to have an estate sale and just be able to browse that closet.
God, that would be amazing. But you've watched her on the show, that's never going to happen.
Well, she barely leaves the closet, so
she'd be there selling.
She'd be there.
Yeah.
With her step grandfather husband right there.
I like a lot of her stuff though, but I do think sometimes it's a lot. Yeah.
Who do you think is the best duo on the show? What team, when they pair up, are you the most excited about?
I famously hate the duo because every time on Housewives, they think they're Lucy and Ethel and they point it out every single time. So whether it be Vicky and Tamra or I don't know, Kim and Brandy on Beverly Hills, it's like they always think that they're Lucy and Ethel. But so I would say my favorite duo is Karen and Giselle on Potomac because they're
beautiful.
They just have a great dynamic. Their scenes together are so explosive and they have this love-hate thing going on. And that's more fascinating to me than two people buddy hopping around and saying, oh, we're Lucy and Ethel,
Frenemies for the win.
Frenemies for the win. And also I've been rewatching Atlanta season 2.
The best.
And the Kim and Nene dynamic is the best TV of all time. I mean, and with Sheree in the mix, but like it's unreal. And there was like rumors at one point that we were going to get a Nene and Kim travel series a few years back. And I wish we would have gotten that because seeing those two together, television gold.
And they said goodbye, Wig, to that show, which is just so sad. Bye, Wig. Bye,
Close your legs
Wig.
to married men, and they went on their way.
Close your legs to married men. Don't Be Tardy for the Party is obviously the #1 best song, correct?
Yes. I mean, I love Luann's songs too, but Don't Be Tardy is just like an actually really good song.
Yeah. And On Display isn't as bad as people think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm Team Melania for best Bravo song. I Don't Want to Grow Up is my favorite. I quote it in everyday life.
Do you remember when Danielle Staub had a song called Too Close that she did?
I remember the Hex Hector remix with her lesbian lover.
Travis, you're speaking my language. Yes, the dance remix was phenomenal. And also she did like a dramatic ballad version of it on Watch What Happens Live that was stunning and haunts me to this day.
It was. My mom went to her album signing in Provincetown and sent me a picture of Danielle signing me a picture, and it says, "Stay positive, love Danielle," and like a glamour shot of her in heels. I still have it up in my home.
Sure.
Thank you, Mom. And my last question is, because we do a lot of fake celebrity fights here, which housewife, all of them are in a ring, do you think is going to win in a fight?
Oh my gosh. Well, oh gosh, you know who was a really good opponent, and she was only on the season one time, Claudia Jordan. But to me, Nini's one of the greatest housewives I think we've ever had. But there was this episode where Claudia and Nini were sort of going at it, and Claudia, the way that she held her own against Nini, who's amazing. And actually in Dave Quinn's book, it was revealed, he has a book called All Diamonds and Rosé, which is sort of this oral history of the housewives. And I remember, I might be quoting it wrong, but I remember him saying in the book, like, Nini respected Claudia so much for that, because although they were feuding at the time, Nini was recognized how it made such a great housewife. So she always stands out. I wish she would have had more time on the show, because watching that scene, it was like Claudia was just great. And so, I don't know. I guess maybe she'd be most underrated or something. But that's who popped to mind when you asked me that.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you have done it. You have done it. Housewives Rapid Fire.
Was I okay? I was so.
Oh, you were great.
Oh my God. You are a delight. I think your knowledge is so micro. I love it.
Thank you.
It is. And now we have more questions about your book, Danny, because we are literally excited about it. And I don't know, Sarah Huron has read every single pop culture book and celebrity memoir. So she is an actual expert in this field. So if she said she likes it, good review, everybody buy it.
Yes, everyone buy it. Come on. You support your local bookstore, go to Amazon, wherever you need to buy it.
Yes. And I haven't finished it yet because I just got my hands on it a couple of days ago, and I had to read.
How dare you?
I know. I'm so sorry. And usually I speed read celebrity books. It's kind of one of my strengths. I can read a Bachelor memoir in 2 hours and find the tea. But I actually like you, and I wanted to read the book, and I don't want to miss anything because it is filled with so many references. I was literally choking this morning thinking about your dad trying to do the Mighty Ducks flying V during your soccer game. And I just want to know, like, when you sat down to write this book, what was your biggest, like, what do you want your reader to get? What's the biggest takeaway that you want the reader to get from this book?
Ultimately, I just want people to have a good time reading it. I want them to laugh. And you mentioned the pop culture references. I hope nostalgia will be sparked with that kind of stuff. But I want people to giggle and laugh. And there's a little bit of drama throughout it too. So I didn't shy away from the drama, but I think everything's so tough right now. It's like, I just want people to be able to read this by the pool or the beach on a spring break or something and have a good time and hopefully get to know me better, and then also relate to their own lives. I've heard from a lot of people, there are some family stories in there that I like to think. I tried to write sort of as like my version of like the vacation movies with Chevy Chase, or, that's the kind of vibe I was trying to put out there. And I've heard from people who've read the book who said, "Oh, I did that family vacation from Ohio to Florida. And I recognize my dad in that story, or I had a date like that, like you wrote about." And so I hope people also think about their own lives and some of their awkward or cringy moments, but ultimately I just want people to laugh and giggle and have a gay old time.
Your family is in it. I mean, even from the parts that I've gotten to read so far, like a decent amount. Did you have to like sit them down and be like, "Hey, I'm putting you on blast," not putting you on blast, but like, you're getting the book?
I was very nervous for them to read it. I didn't let anyone see it until they got the copies, which was a couple of weeks ago. They got the copies and read it. And I was so nervous for my mom and my dad to read it, but ultimately they really liked it. And so I was relieved when they said they enjoyed it. But yeah, I wanted people to laugh. I grew up loving books like by David Sedaris, or I love Casey Wilson's memoir, was the more recent one, or Phoebe Robinson. And I love people being able to pick up a book and read a chapter of it and have a few laughs and then, put it down or continue reading. But I wanted each chapter to be almost like a self-contained story. So my parents and my family sort of appear throughout in different stories, but hopefully people relate to the parental stuff.
Oh, for sure.
When you sat your parents down, were you like, okay, here's the worst passage first? Or did you just sort of give them a general sense of what was going on?
You know, my dad was really excited about it. Like he knew he was going to be in it, and he was just thinking like, oh yes, I'm going to be in it. Like he was excited. My mom, on the other hand, she's a little bit more buttoned up, and she was the most nervous about what was going to appear in it. And she can be, just more buttoned up. But my dad read it first, and I think he sort of guided her and told her, skip that chapter or skip that chapter. So she didn't read. I don't know if she read all of it. She said she did, but I don't know if she read all of it, because there's a couple, there's a couple of date stories, or, I don't know. I'm not shy with my language. So there's swearing in it and stuff. So I knew that my mom wouldn't love that stuff, but ultimately she said she liked it.
That's good. I mean, your mom also on the podcast, I feel like your podcast listeners love hearing stories about her too, which are usually in your detours. And then the book has detours too, which I loved when I was flipping through it. I loved that because that's one of the best things I think about your show is when you are talking, you're great, obviously talking about Bravo, but when you do share those personal stories, it's great. And the book is obviously all detours, but then there's detours within the detours.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I really wrote it for fans of people who listen to my show, and it was such a great opportunity for me to kind of workshop stuff on my show. And I was touring right before the pandemic, and oftentimes people would come up to me, and although my show, people come to it for Real Housewives, or I have celebrity interviews on the show, what I was finding was most often people were saying, oh my God, that story you told about your mom and her woodpecker.
Yeah.
It's that's what people were coming up to me and talking about and saying, oh, that happened to me, or this, whatever. And so those were the stories that I wanted to tell in the book, because I realized that that's what people like the most. So initially, when I was going out with the book, some certain publishers were saying, oh, you should do a Housewives book or something. And I kind of felt like, well, I'm talking to people, and it's this is what people are relating to the most. And it's a dream project of mine, what I've always wanted to write. So it's been fun. And then, there's some housewife references in there, and there's tons of pop culture and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think it's just something everyone can relate to in different ways, hopefully.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, you talk about coming out, you talk about depression, you talk about grief, you talk about waking up on vacation and seeing your 12-year-old brother driving. You cover a lot of topics.
There's a lot of topics. Was
there one favorite thing or chapter you're most looking forward for your fans or even new fans to read?
Yeah, there's I think my favorite story is this one about my boyfriend and I. We were on a sort of a group date with his boss and his wife, and then a couple other coworkers. And it was right after I saw the movie Judy with Renee Zellweger, and I was just so obsessed with it. Mm-hmm. And so we made a bet of my boyfriend said, there's no way you can go this whole dinner without bringing up the Judy Garland movie. And so there's sort of this back and forth, and it was a struggle. And I ultimately wasn't able to win the bet, but people can read the story, but it makes me laugh a lot. And I think it sort of encompasses both the awkwardness and that hopefully people will find funny in these stories, and then also the pop culture.
It's so
my God,
good.
go buy Danny's book. We love it. We love feeling awkward and uncomfortable and then equating it to pop culture. That is what we do on this podcast.
Yeah, please buy it. It'll be a good time. You'll laugh at the beach. It's an easy, light read.
March 8th, right?
Yes, March 8th. And there's an audiobook or the hardcover. My boyfriend actually drew some pictures in the hardcover. So, there's some pictures throughout.
A picture book.
I don't want to oversell that it's a picture book, but there are a handful of drawings.
Amazing.
And you narrate the audiobook?
I do. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
fun.
So that was a fun, crazy experience as well. But I hope people read it and read it by the pool or whatever.
Well, we were praying for Danny Pellegrino and we got him. So thank you to my hosts, Sarah and Gwen, and to Danny for helping me spill all of this piping hot celebrity this week. Again, this is Travis Cronin on Us Weekly's Hot Hollywood podcast with your weekly peek into the glamour, glitter, fashion, fame of your favorite celebrities. Because after all, everybody, they're
just like us.
And go buy Danny's book, How Do I Unremember This? Unfortunate True Stories. Pre-order it now, just so you don't forget. March 7th or March 8th.
March 8th.
March 8th, it comes out, but pre-order it now so you don't forget. If you listen to this podcast, you love celebrity gossip and feeling awkward and uncomfortable. So go buy the book.
Yes, order it, buy it, read it.
Order it.
Time.